Are there any other guys that you felt were snubbed? Well, A-Rod. Do you feel A-Rod should have been there? I know you don't want him there. I don't want him there either. But should he have been there?
No. He was fifth among DHs. There's been so much. Two things I would say about it. There's been so much attention because of the records that or the people he's passed in his hitting achievements. And that he has been, the other aspect, he's been a good teammate, and the Yankees are playing well this year, and he's been a contributor. Well, based on what Patrick says, it doesn't matter what the team does. It's if you are a great player. You shouldn't take that into consideration. Well, he's hitting, the last I looked, he was hitting 267. Help me out. Aren't there better guys than that? He's had home runs because he's passed somebody, or it's his 3,000 hit. I don't think this is a case, if it were Willie Mays or Mickey Mantle or Ted Williams at the end of his career or Ken Griffey Jr., you salute
Save
them.
a spot.
I don't want to mess with A-Rod in the All-Star game. I want him and Pete Rose to stay away. That's my opinion.
Let's go to the phone and bring in Matt Snyder. He's a Major League Baseball writer for CBSSports.com. Matt, welcome to the show. Matt, will this be a better game or a worse game without A-Rod?
I mean, ultimately, probably better, just to avoid the circus and the sideshow. But I can see the point of wanting him to stay away and wanting Pete Rose to stay away. And I agree, definitely, with Pete Rose staying away, especially now that we know he's been lying for years about whether or not he gambled as a player. But the way I was looking at A-Rod, I was asked yesterday if he should go to the All-Star game. And I said, I hadn't gone through spot by spot, but I mean, based upon merit, now looking at it, I think that you could justify him being in one of the very last spots based upon merit. And I wouldn't punish him and keep him away from the game just because of what he's done in the past, because Nelson Cruz and Johnny Peralta are starting the game. So if we can forgive and forget on them, we should be able to do it on A-Rod too.
Well, that's worth considering, Matt. I'll ask you the question of our last guest, Patrick Saunders, the beat writer for the Colorado Rockies for the Post. Do you think it's time to do away with this, winner of the game gets the seventh game in the World Series? Or do you think now that we've had time to see it in place that it really makes sense?
I've hated it for a long time, and I still hate it. I wish they would just get rid of it because it's already the best exhibition All-Star game in professional sports. It's far better than the NHL and NBA where they don't even play defense, and the Pro Bowl's kind of a joke anyway. So I think Major League Baseball long had the best All-Star game, but they had the one black eye where the guys ran out of pitchers. And just adding more pitchers to each roster and having them hold back guys in case it goes to extra innings would have just solved the problem. That was an overreaction by Bud Selig, I thought, to put that stipulation in. I don't think it increases viewership. I don't think it decreases it either. But there's just, when you have fans voting on starters instead of starters named based upon merit, and you have every team guaranteed one representative, then you can't attach a stipulation and say this one matters, because it just seems to me to contradict itself. It's either, hey, this one matters, so let's have the manager pick all the players and try to win the game, or let's just leave it as an exhibition game and don't attach a stipulation to it.
Matt Snyder from CBS Sports. And Matt, while we have the privilege of having you here, let me shift to something that's really more important, because as you pointed out, it's an exhibition game. Have fun, keep a scorecard. Nobody will do it except me here, but I'll keep a scorecard. But of the teams that are what we would consider, I'm going to call them middle market teams, that have been big surprises this year, who is tested enough that they can make it through the second half? Because we've just passed the 81-game mark, so the All-Star game is not really the halfway mark.
Yeah.
Who of these teams, I can go through Houston, Minnesota, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, who do you really like to be there at the end, and who do you think is going to fold like a cheap aluminum chair in the second half?
The Royals, I think, have shown enough that after the run last year, they got a confidence about them and a swagger about them, maybe a little bit of too much of a swagger early in the season with all those fights, but that's gone away. But they're good enough offensively with their bullpen and their defense. They have to get better starting pitching, but I think that they've shown they're here to stay for several years, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them pick up a piece of the trade deadline to kind of set up their rotation, whether it be a cheaper rental like Scott Kazmir or an expensive rental like Johnny Cueto. I would be interested to see if they do something like that, but I definitely think they're here to stay no matter what. The Astros, again, we'll see how they do at the deadline, but I feel like they've been playing way over their heads, and you obviously have to take them seriously if they've gotten to this point. But remember, it's easy to forget the Pittsburgh Pirates, thanks to 2013 and 2014, but in 2012, the Pirates were awesome through the All-Star break, and they fell apart completely and didn't even end up with a winning record after August and September. I don't know if it will be that drastic, but I do think the Astros take a step back. And you mentioned the Twins. I expect them to also take a step back.
Matt, back to the All-Star Game. Who is going to be sitting at home on a 4 or 5 day break that got screwed, that should be in Cincinnati in either a National League or an American League uniform?
Justin Turner. He's been an outstanding player for the Dodgers ever since they got him off the scrap heap from the Mets. And he's been – it's hard to encapsulate his value just based upon words alone, because he can play several different positions, but they've settled him into third base. They ended up trading Juan Uribe away because they were so confident in Turner taking over. They've weathered injuries from several other positions. And you look heading into today right now, 315 batting average, 386 on base, 562 slugging. He's one of their better power hitters. He's come through in the clutch multiple times. The thing is, though, nowadays, it seems like so many guys have things pop up, and we get a lot of guys named. He may be added eventually.
And Don Mattingly, talking about him the other day, said, he was a nice pickup in the spring last year. A guy they could fit in at Double-A or somewhere like that because he wasn't much of a hitter. And he said the light bulb went off at the end of last year, and then this year he's just continued. He said that's a guy that found himself when he was about to be out of baseball, basically.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it was, after the Mets, for 2013, thought they just didn't have anything left to do for him. That was his age 28 season. You're getting to the point where if you're not going to catch on full-time with the team, you have to start to think about life after baseball, because once you've been in the majors, at the time he'd been in with the Mets for basically 3 full seasons after several years in the minors, headed back to the minors, kicking around the minors through your 30s, that's not for most people. You need to start figuring out what you're going to do with the rest of your life. And now all of a sudden he's an all-star caliber player at age 30. It's an unbelievable turnaround.
I'm going to start asking all of our very smart guests in regard to baseball. Matt, you are now the general manager of the Colorado Rockies. How do you produce a winning team here? And don't give me I'm going to put together a great pitching staff. I would like to know, you've looked at this and you've gone, because even their former general manager's been quoted by a friend of us as saying you can't win at altitude. Can you? And would you? And how would you do it?
I mean, they have a few times, but those seasons were basically outliers, as you guys know all too well. With this specific team, I would start by biting the bullet and dealing Troy Tulowitzki and getting as much back as you can to help revamp the farm system and see what you can get for cargo. And your new wave is building around Nolan Arenado, an absolute superstar who's still very underrated outside your area. I'm going to guess your area, he's not underrated. But from there, I do think you need to look at the type of pitchers. I think that you should concentrate on trying to get ground ball pitchers. They're still going to give up home runs in Coors Field. They're still going to give up a lot of hits because the outfield is just so huge and there's so many holes. But I would concentrate on trying to get great infield defense, which you already have in Arenado and LeMahieu you'd be keeping. Get a great infield defense, get a lot of ground ball pitchers who eat innings. Not necessarily elite or really high-priced pitchers. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to free agency market. But you start looking for guys who throw that sinker and pound the zone down, and that's probably the best way to get at least a serviceable pitching staff. And then from there, I mean, like I said, infield defense and the outfield, I'm looking for bats, just getting guys who can slug and embrace that you are the Colorado Rockies in Coors Field, and you're going to out-hit people even when you're on the road.
Matt, a lot of what you talked about, they're already doing. The problem is those sinker ball pitchers, that ball ain't sinking enough.
It doesn't sink.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I mean, there's really no great answer up there in the altitude. You just kind of, that's probably the best plan. I don't know of a better plan. And, from there, you just try to hope you catch lightning in a bottle, as they did a few times, including when they went all the way to the World Series.
Hey, Matt, really appreciate your time. What's your Twitter handle?
At Matt Snyder with a Y, CBS.
That's easy enough. Thanks you, Matt. Appreciate
All right,
it.
have a good one.
All right, that's Matt Snyder of CBSSports.com. All live guests brought to you by Papa John's, the official sponsor of the Colorado Rockies. The day after every Rockies win, like yesterday, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at papajohns.com. You have to use the promo code ROXWIN, ROXWIN.